Welcome to episode 25 of Lost Signals. My name is Darrell.
I'm JD.
It's cold outside today.
just lean right into it, eh?
Just right into it.
As if we have nothing else to talk about. We're just gonna just like, hey, how's the weather?
Yeah, I'm just gonna drop it like that. And it's not that it's cold. It just we woke up and the highways were ice and it's been
Oh,
snowing all day. So
oh my.
and it's not that I woke up. It's like I left work this morning and it was fucking icy the whole way home.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see how that's at the front of your skull. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. It's what we got off really easily so far this year. It's
Mhm.
the 10th of November and we're just getting snow now besides a couple flakes like a week ago. It's Saskatchewan. It's just the way shit happens. It's going to be winter at some point. So whatever. I mean, it is what it is. But guess winter's
We,
here to stay. I'm going to have to dig my shovel out or find my shovel and is what it is.
the look on your face of just like, fucking shoot me now.
Well, I was on my way home and I'm, driving pretty slow and because, it's shitty out. I'm just thinking it's like, how many months until I can go back to driving like a normal person?
Mm.
Like, oh, yeah, it's 5 at least. Middle of
Life
March.
in the north.
Yeah.
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 In Prince George, we had that one flash freezing, which was a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm.
And generally, whenever that happens, you'll find a lot of vehicles in the ditch and some scary moments and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it happened, of course, overnight. And I was driving the days before and the day after. So fortunate for me, by the time I got back onto the road, everything was thawed, salted, and the roads were fine again. But driving out to where I usually go, Mount Milligan, there was at least a half a dozen four-wheel drive vehicles
Oh, yeah.
upside down in the ditch,
It's
which
the-
is
it's like-
generally the thing.
Yeah. That first snowfall, I mean, you go from normal driving to winter driving and it's just like,
Yeah.
you forget how to drive. That's it. Like you just everything goes out the window. You forget about braking way before you're supposed to. It's just like
Disengaging the transmission if you start
Yeah.
to slide.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's just
It's winter in
I-
Canada, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
How you been?
That's just it.
How you been?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm feeling better. I had a really tough go for a while there, and I'm starting to get back onto the road to recovery. So
Mhm.
it's been an interesting experience, and dare I say, experimental in some ways.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, I've been trying edibles, CBD oil, just to get some fucking sleep.
Yeah, it's amazing how well they work.
It is actually.
Like
So, go
like
ahead.
for me growing up, I mean, like there was always that stigma attached to
Yeah.
marijuana or the devil's lettuce or whatever you want to call it. It's like, oh, it's going to ruin your life. It's a gateway drug. Next thing you're going to be sucking dick for heroin under a bridge. It's just fucking the way things work. But it's not. It's not. Like, you don't go out and do crazy shit. You're just going to, like chill on the couch and watch stupid cartoons for fucking 6 hours. That's what it does to me anyways. That's all I want. It's just like, get some popcorn. It's like, yeah, this is great. Right? It's fucking,
Well,
that's
it's
me.
never
Though.
been. Yeah, well, it's never been that for me. So like full disclosure, I was straight edge, and this is not a beatnik thing. I was straight edge before I knew what straight edge was. I just didn't drink, and I didn't smoke, and I didn't do anything
Yeah.
until I was 20.
Oh, wow.
And
I was taking
primarily-
up your stuff then.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. No, my family was doing their fair share. Don't worry. um, the reason why I did this is because I saw my father when he drank too much, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I saw the darker side of a lot of the harder narcotics, and just didn't interest me. And when I had younger growing up, have accidents, go to the hospital, whatever, they put you on any sort of medication to numb the pain or knock you out or something like that. I fucking hated that feeling. I Hated it.
Yeah.
So whenever someone was saying like, "Oh, try weed, it'll make you feel like it," nope, nope. Like
Yeah.
it sounds like this, and I didn't like that, so I'm not gonna do that.
But it's not. You know.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you know.
Right.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Yeah.
So my first experience ever of smoking weed was one of the fucking worst.
The
it
first
was
time you
pretty-
smoke weed, though, it should be the worst time ever.
Yeah.
You know, like it shouldn't be anything good.
Yeah. So
Well, maybe I don't know.
I was over at a coworker's place, and this is when I was the manager of a adult sex store / hemp store, and I was the only person there. Like, I was the manager, my assistant manager, and my coworkers, my employees. They all smoked weed
Yeah.
except for me, and they're like, "We got to fucking fix this, dude." So one night, my wife was gonna drive home, and we were gonna smoke a joint and
Yeah.
get stoned and do it in a controlled, comfortable environment.
Yep.
And so tried smoking a joint, felt nothing. Like literally waited an hour and felt nothing. Right. So tried smoking another joint, still didn't feel much. Right. Didn't know what the hell I was feeling.
Yeah.
And then my coworker was like, "All right, we're breaking out the big guns here." She brought out a triple percolator double whip bong, loaded the fucking bowl, and I was like, "Okay, I've sold these. I don't know how they work." She goes, "Okay, well, blah blah blah." And when I say inhale, just like put your lips to this whip and then pull, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, oh. This is someone in the chat. Anyway, let me finish this story first. So it was a double whip, so someone had to hit the other whip.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to take the full hit. So my wife took the other whip, and so did the thing, blah 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 blah, and then lit up, and then was like, "Okay, pull, pull, pull." So I start sucking on this whip, and the person who owned the thing pulled the bowl, and my wife stopped.
Oh no.
Fucking thing.
Oh no.
I cleaned the fucking thing out, and like I was breathing fire.
Yeah.
Just plume of smoke came out of me. I scorched my esophagus. My lungs
yeah.
were on fire, and they're like, "How are you feeling?" I said, "I feel like I want to die. Thank you."
Oh no.
So my wife, like, it was about half an hour later. They were just like, "Hey, do you need anything? Do you want anything?" It's like, I want something cold to drink, but I know it's not going to help because it's not my throat, it's my lungs.
Yeah.
Right? They're like, "Well, go home, take some Advil, and you'll be fine." So go home. My wife's driving home. We get halfway to our place, and this velvet brick hit me upside the head.
Yep.
And I was like, "What is life?" Just everywhere. So I went home. I slept as best I could in the spare room, and woke up the next morning. Like, felt like I was hungover, but not hungover.
Yeah.
My esophagus and my lungs still burned. I pretty much lost 75% of my voice. It was just like, this was not worth it.
Ah. Well, like for them to put you on a bong like that early, it's not a good idea. It's just not. Okay, the first time I smoked weed was off of a fucking like pop can, and I was like 14. It was not a good time.
Chapped Head said, "The first time I smoked weed, my buddies kidnapped a cat and threw it off Circle Bridge into the river. It was not a good time."
Holy Jesus, Ethan. You can go to jail for even admitting that.
Oh, shit.
Jesus Christ. Hoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. No weed with you.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my first time.
Yeah.
Now, I don't want to get into too much detail, but needless to say, I suffered something rather traumatic and personal about 4 weeks ago, and sleep escaped me. I was having panic attacks. I was waking up crying. My heart was just pounding through my chest. I could maybe get 4 hours sleep at a time. My boss at the radio station was like, "Dude, take time off, for fuck's sakes."
Yeah.
pre-recorded an entire show and just like went to bed that night and didn't turned off my phone, didn't set an alarm, nothing like that. I was like, I'll sleep when I fucking pass out. I'll wake up when I wake up. And like even still that didn't help. And it was about 2 weeks of just like zero sleep. And when it was getting to the point where it was dangerous because like I was becoming even more emotional. My panic attacks were hitting harder than ever. I couldn't think straight. And I was still like driving at the time.
Oy.
Fortunately,
Oy.
like I still had my wits about me and I was getting just barely enough sleep that it wasn't an issue. But like any downtime that I had was just consumed by this anxiety and this negative feeling. And anytime I would turn off the light and try to go to sleep, like it would hit me and it would not let go.
Yeah.
So I was desperate, and like I said, I couldn't think straight. I love the fact that you have a co-host right now in your lap. Look at the cutie.
She's sitting here. She's grunting. I don't know if she's a very weird dog. She'll sit here and just grunt at me the whole time. Anyway, get down, jerk.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was desperate. And so I called out to Facebook and I said, like, I need help. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind here. I don't know what to do. Someone please help me. And like majority of the people in that Facebook post was like, weed, edibles, CBD oil, something.
I messaged you like immediately after I saw that. Like, dude, just go to a fucking dispensary and get like these. I buy these. They're an edible drink.
Yeah.
I pound one. It hits me and I go to bed. That works for me though. It might not be for everybody.
So I saw all that and it was just like clearly the universe is sending me a message that weed is the way to go. So I went to the local dispensary, which was the closest one to where I live, and I walked in and the person behind the counter, poor sweet child, walks in, looks at me and goes, "Can I help you?" I went, yes, I hope you can because I need help. He goes, "Okay."
Yeah.
I said, I can't sleep. He goes, is it like, are you in pain? I went, no, it's emotional. It's mental. Like I can't, my brain won't shut down, panic attacks. He goes, okay, say no more. Say no more.
Yeah.
What is your experience with CBD and THC and weed in general? I went, zip. He goes, okay, so edibles are the way to go.
Yep.
He asked me a few questions and like, like what's my food intake like, and like what's my tolerance to alcohol, and blah 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 blah. And so we went with a couple of edibles, gummies.
Yep.
And they were 2.5 megs each?
Milligrams. Yeah. Yeah.
Milligrams? Okay.
Yeah. Not megabytes. That'd be super weird.
See, the terminology escapes me.
Yeah.
So he's like, hit one of these before you go to bed, like 2 hours. 2 hours before you go to bed. And, go to bed, relax, breathe, meditate, whatever it is that you do.
Masturbate.
And just something, right?
Yeah.
And then just let it come over you. Okay, fine. So that night I went home and did my usual routine and worked on a few things and projects and whatnot, and then I went to bed. Or 2 hours before going to bed, I took one of those, and then I went to bed. And about half an hour after laying in bed, I'm like, it's one of those things where I was like, I don't know, should I feel something? Should I? What? I didn't know what to expect. And then suddenly it felt like someone just draped a flannel blanket from head to toe straight across my body.
Yeah.
I went, oh, that. Okay.
Yep.
And I passed the fuck out.
Yeah.
And it was like some of the best sleep I had gotten in too long.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't take away the panic attacks. It didn't take away the anxiety, but it gave me the opportunity to finally sleep.
Yeah.
Which meant that the next morning it gave me the opportunity to finally have a clear mind.
Yeah.
And then through that, I've been able to start to move forward and start to grasp the reality of my life at this point in time, and just cope yet again.
Yeah.
So it's been I wasn't against it before. Like if I was against it before, I wouldn't have been a manager of a hemp store.
Yeah.
But like I was just inexperienced, and I wasn't hesitant. I wasn't against it, but I am now better informed, and like have zero issues with the concept of going back into that dispensary and going like, that worked, let's try something else.
Yeah.
Because like that was well worth the experience. And cost effective, my God.
Okay, so what were those gummies worth? Because you showed me the pack like last week or whatever. Like,
It wasn't even $10.
oh, fuck, yeah.
Wasn't even $10.
That-
And there was 4 of them in the pack.
Yeah. So a night's sleep for $2.50.
Cannot complain.
Yeah.
My God. You know?
I mean, I it's not that I've never been like, I've never smoked a lot of weed. It's never really been my thing, but like for sleeping and stuff, it sure is.
Yeah.
Like, I work shift work. So like when I switch back between nights and days, it's like some days it's like there's just no way. Like either I'm too wired or whatever, and I need something to bring it down. And you don't want to go have a bunch of drinks and whatever. It's sometimes you just want to just chill out on the couch. So those drinks work perfect for me. Like the edibles, like, okay, so I have a story about actual edibles though.
Okay.
A couple years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I was at a buddy's place in the city. We had some drinks, and somebody brought some brownies out.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, classic. Like, yeah. And I did not know how strong these brownies were. Like, apparently the guy made it like a double dose, and they were heavy to begin with.
Oh.
So say that like the 2.5 milligrams that you had, these are probably like 80 milligrams or more. Maybe. Like, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, you can't measure that stuff. Not when it's like, this was before everything was legal.
Right.
So eat this.
So it was like a bunch of oil. Like, that's good enough.
Yeah, pretty much. I ate, I think, half of a brownie, or it was a good chunk of a brownie, and then just waited and kept having drinks and had too many drinks, and then I was looking at a buddy, and I was looking at him straight on like this, and then he said, we were talking, and one eye was straight, and the other one was up over that way. Like my eyes went completely crossed.
Yeah.
But I was still having a conversation with him, like, a coherent conversation, but just, He's like, dude, you need to go lay down. So I did. I went and laid on the carpet in his living room, and it felt like I was falling through the carpet.
Oh,
It wasn't a good falling through the carpet, like where you're relaxing into the carpet. No, this felt like I was falling into the depths of hell. I mean, it was not good, but I also have another story about getting too high.
I can follow up.
Okay.
It just brought back a memory of me trying my first edible. A girlfriend at the time came over and like, oh, we're gonna have so much fun, because like she's like, oh, you've never had edibles and you've never had sex while consuming edibles, and it's just mind blowing. Blah blah.
Yeah.
She came over with these homemade 2-bite muffins.
Yeah.
And again, like, you can't measure this shit, right? So she comes over and we started watching Avengers Age of Ultron.
Oh,
yeah. And I, like, the movie started and boom, boom, I hit this little muffin, and about half an hour into the movie, she's looking at me like, how you feeling? How you feeling? I feel fine. And then I remember Ultron was talking to Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, and it freaked the fuck out of me. I couldn't remember the word they just said because I was focused on the next word that was coming, and it did not settle well with me at all. It was bad. I ended up emptying my stomach and then crawled into bed and passed the fuck out.
So So the emptying your stomach part. So like here's your graphic warning because the story isn't pretty.
Mm.
But so again, same buddies that I ate the edibles with. We're at his new apartment. We're having some drinks and I'm like, hey, yeah, we're gonna hit this bong with us. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I was on holidays. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
So I take a big hit of this bong and right away my buddy's eyes open wide. I'm like, what? It's like, that was such a big hit you just took. I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm sitting in this recliner.
Yeah.
We're watching WWE wrestling. We're watching NXT.
Okay.
And I'm sitting there and my eyes are closed. I'm sitting there. I'm like thinking, like, God, like 3 hours must have passed. And I checked my phone. It was like 45 seconds. But that's what it felt like. It just fuck it. Like it was bad. So all of a sudden I'm sitting on this recliner and I'm like, I'm greening out. I'm going to throw up.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite a ways from where we were sitting to like for me to get into the bathroom.
Right.
I stand up and like I'm stoned, so I can't fucking walk right. I stumble into the bathroom. I can't find the light switch on the wall, but I had to throw up.
Oh no.
And I knew where the toilet was. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck it. I let it go and I threw up in the general direction of the toilet. Whatever. Cool.
Yep.
I finish
up. All you
up.
do is aim.
Yeah. I finish up throwing up. I kind of, come to a little bit, because you get a little bit out of your system.
Yeah.
Stand up and like my buddy at the door, my buddy Lee's like, dude, what kind of mess did you make in there? It's like, I don't know. Let's find out. So I turn on the light. Yeah. There was one drop on the rim of the toilet.
Oh no.
Everything else was in the toilet.
Oh shit.
It like somehow in the dark, my drunk stoned puke aim was perfect, but there was like one little drop and like I showed my buddy, it's like, I don't believe this. Like, how did that happen? It's like, did that happen? Like, did I actually throw up? And it's like, no, of course I did. But it's like, it's weird, man. But yeah, like
360 no scope.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it was bad. It's funny, but it's like, fucking. Oh yeah.
Good. Kudos, man. Kudos. Different scenario, but same thing. Years ago, the last time I was in Los Angeles for E3, I don't know why, but I just, the food down there just does not sit right with me.
Yeah. It's probably a lot to do with the corn in it.
Yeah, probably.
There's a lot of corn in American food. And I noticed that when I was in Vegas too, that none of the food sat well with me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The last time I was in LA, I left day 2 of E3 early, got an Uber back to my hotel, and knew that I was in trouble and tried to settle it as best as possible. Downed an entire Gatorade immediately.
Yeah.
And just laid in bed, and I'm just cope, right? And I rolled to one side. I'm okay. And I rolled the other side. Went shit.
Yeah. I'm not okay anymore.
Yeah. It creeped up, right? So there was a change room between the bedroom of the hotel and the actual bathroom, but in that change room was a sink, and I got out of the bedroom, 2 steps into the change room, aimed for the sink, just like
yeah,
and cool, just projectile.
Yeah.
And hit a little bit of the counter, but most of it went into the sink. I went, good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna take care of this later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, Ethan just said, it's like the first time I did Blay Hoots, I was playing Gears of War. So that's a long time ago. Gears of War, the first one. The TV went black and white, but everything else was in color, and I ran in circles for 20 minutes before I realized I wasn't going anywhere. That's why I don't play video games when I'm stoned, I could play video games when I'm drunk, but not stoned, because I get distracted too easily, or just like stare at something shiny for like 2 minutes. Yeah. Not my thing.
No. Well, I'd be willing to give it a shot. And like, again, full disclosure, there was one time where sex was attempted on edibles, but I didn't green out. She did, and she was the experienced one.
Oh no.
And it completely took her out of the mood, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, for sure. Is what it is, though.
I'm willing to try anything twice. That was once.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, give her another go. Another go.
Yeah. So, to wrap this up, like I'm like I am experienced now, and I know a little bit more about what CBD. Like I'm looking at the bottle. A little bit more about what CBD and the other oil,
THC.
THC affects me in controlled doses.
Yeah.
Prior was like just like out the window, who knows what the fuck it is and how strong it could be, right? So in a controlled situation, I know that not only can I handle it, but it's beneficial.
Yeah. Well, that is the thing, like with legalization, is that there is controls now for it, is that it's all, and you know how strong that you're going to get. So like you are taking 2.5 milligrams for your edibles. Like the ones that I buy are 10, and that's the highest you can get. And I know, like I have friends that are, experienced users or whatever you want, if you want to call them that like a 10 milligram drink won't do anything to them, because they've been smoking weed for however long.
Build up a tolerance.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, it's like weed or like, am I stoned right now? It's like booze or anything else that you get that tolerance built up, and then you got to use enough to get that same feeling. But like, I'm a proponent for using marijuana in any form like that, like for depression, anxiety, insomnia, whatever. It's good for that. So it really did take a long time for it to become legal here, though. But it's been legal for what, 4 years now?
Yeah.
Like it's a long time. But
which is awesome.
Yeah. For what, like for those uses or for whatever you want to. I don't give a shit what you do.
And for the record, it is not a gateway. I have no urges, inclinations, anything of the such to try anything else. I'm just I'm more familiar with what it can do to me under controlled situations.
Absolutely. You know what a gateway drug is, though? Surgery, when they hop you up on morphine. Fucking
yeah.
After my first surgery, first cancer surgery, I was laying in a recovery bed, and the nurse came up to me, and she's like, I had just woken up. She's like, "How are you feeling?" I'm like, "Well, on a scale to 1 to 10, what's your pain level?" Like I had just had the front of my neck cut open. I'm like, "It's a 14," and she's like, "She's like, yeah, okay, we'll get you fixed up right away." And in seconds, it's like, I didn't give a fuck about nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Do you want to go back in? Go for it.
Yeah, but I mean, that we'll leave that whole other conversation for something else. But like, that's a huge problem. You getting that feel in a controlled environment, and then trying to go outside and find it someplace else. But let's leave that for another time, because that could be a long one.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, Kit Kat, no, it's all good. I'm like just about 10 years out now, so it's See, I actually have the chat up for once on my phone.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So moving on, after our talk about formerly illicit drugs, there was an incident that happened at a music festival last week.
Yeah.
That was it? Yeah. Was that Friday? It must have been Friday.
I think it. Yeah.
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 And it was disgusting to see what actually happened. So if you're not familiar with it, it's the Travis Scott Astroworld festival that happened on Friday. I'm not really familiar with Travis Scott, besides I think he, like, maybe there was a song or two on like Instagram or whatever, like that got thrown into songs, but it's definitely not a style of music that I listen to. But him and Canadian rapper Drake, Jimmy in a wheelchair, are now getting sued for like millions of dollars for inciting a riot, because up to 8 people died in a crowd surge,
and they didn't stop the event.
Yeah. They were egging people on. Like that's disgusting. So like I did a little bit of research into this. Not really, but I mean like I looked into this, but like this isn't the first time Travis Scott has done this sort of thing either. Apparently he was crowd surfing at a festival a couple years ago. And some asshole in the crowd tried to steal a shoe. Like one's a souvenir. You know how crowds like that get. But, so he didn't get, like, the guy didn't get his shoe, but, like, Travis Scott is like, beat the fuck out of that guy. I want his fucking head or something to that effect. It's like, that's straight up inciting violence, like, or a riot. Like, you go to jail for that shit.
Yes.
So, The most disgusting thing about this, it's like, you know what? Yeah, 8 people died. That's not cool. And you know what? That's going to come out in the wash later. But, like, his insincere apology on Instagram, like
of
like
all things, like on Instagram,
like 2 days later, and just like what are you doing? Like what kind of asshole do you have to be to fucking like to not like to realize like you killed these people essentially. I mean, not by your direct actions, but like your indirect actions. Like these people died because of you. So
there's plenty of video out there on whatever social media platform you choose to search of like hardcore acts, hip hop acts and whatnot, like Anthrax, Pantera, Foo Fighters, Metallica, like big boys stopping like in the middle of a song to address someone who is injured, someone who's acting inappropriately, someone who needs help, like just grinding to a halt.
Stopping the middle of the song.
Yeah.
Make sure the people are okay. Yeah. And then keep going. Like, and Ethan just made a good point. It's like these people were not practicing proper pit etiquette. And that is an actual thing. You go to a metal show. I stay out of the mosh pits. I'm a big guy and I don't want to hurt little people. So, but like, that's the thing. Like the big guys there, like I've been in the pits before, but like you always make sure that you pick that person up beside you. You always do. You don't try and knock them over to try and get closer to the front because fucking Drake is on the stage. Go fuck yourself. You help that person up. That's common decency.
Yes.
Like, I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, I've heard stories like actually like after this all came out, there's a ton of videos that got posted all over Twitter and Reddit and whatever. Like bands like Guns N' Roses, not as big anymore, but used to have like huge shows back in the day. They were playing, there's a video on Reddit from like 2016, a YouTube video, that they were playing You Could Be Mine from the Terminator 2 soundtrack.
Yep.
They do what's called like, I can't remember, there's a term for it, but like they're playing the song, but then they cut everything out and just play the riff a little bit and like really quietly, and Axl's talking to the crowd. It's like, I need everybody to take one step back. There's people at the front. They're getting hurt or getting, it's getting tight up here. Take one step back. Because some kid died at a Guns N' Roses show in the 80s or early 90s. And they're like, no fucking way is that happening again. And good on them for doing that. Like to realize, like as an artist, as you're on stage, you're watching this crowd surge, like, okay, calm the fuck down. Calm the fuck down. But I've also seen videos at like hardcore punk shows, hardcore metal shows. Where I like the wall. You ever hear the Wall of Death?
Yes.
So, if you're unfamiliar with the Wall of Death, like big, like crazy metal bands will separate the crowd down the middle, and when they say a certain word, the crowd runs at each other. But you never hear of people getting like maliciously maimed in this. Like people are going to get hurt. But like these people are going to get helped up, and if they're really hurt, they're going to stop and they're going to bring them out, and everybody's going to be fine. Not at a Travis Scott concert though. You're going to get murdered. And so I was reading this afternoon. There's a legal, or not like at all these festivals they have their plans, like like their what's like their standard operating procedures.
Contingencies.
They already had names made for people that were going to die at this concert. They fucking knew. They called them Smurfs. Look it up after we're done here.
Smurfs.
Smurfs. It's disgusting. So,
Jesus.
yeah. I just, it riles me up
It's-
because, you know, like I've been to a ton of concerts and I've never been hurt at a concert. I've never seen, I've helped people up off the ground. I've never, I mean, I've seen fights, like legit fights at concerts, you know, and that happens, but like not like this. Not like this.
No, I've like the most metal concert I've ever gone to was a Metallica concert, and it was in Vancouver quite a few years ago. And there was a mosh pit.
Yeah.
And I can't recall seeing an ambulance or seeing paramedics like rush to the scene.
Yeah.
But then again, I wasn't really paying attention to it.
Yeah.
But there is mosh pit etiquette, and I've heard
For sure there is.
many different stories about how there is a certain way of doing things. Yes, go in there, thrash around, have a good time, bump, you know, get hit,
Yeah.
whatever. Everyone's cool. But the moment that someone is compromised, the moment that someone is vulnerable, the moment that someone goes down, it stops.
Yeah.
Like there is clear protection there, and everyone's watching for themselves.
Yeah.
This was a overrun situation where security was understaffed.
Yeah.
The event and arena crew was understaffed,
Yeah.
and it was bedlam. It was mayhem.
Yeah.
It was insanity that was just out of control. And Travis Scott, like, really no excuse.
No.
Zero whatsoever. Like, there shouldn't be people climbing the rigging to go talk to the production staff to say, there are people dying out there.
Yeah.
And they go and like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, and the show continuing to go for at least another half an hour.
Yeah. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
It's
Fucking guy should go to jail. You know, like, I mean, I'm not a fan of that style of music.
Yeah.
But that's not a detractment from that style of music, but he definitely is a shitty person. And the fact that Drake is involved with it now,
I couldn't care less about Drake, honestly.
Jimmy in a wheelchair.
I still couldn't care less.
Yeah.
The only thing I know about Travis Scott before this was he was one of the feature content sources for Fortnite.
For fuck's sake.
He did a live concert experience, which was just basically like a bunch of cutscenes and whatever. That's the only thing I really knew about Travis Scott before this event.
Fortnite.
And then this is just a situation where it is poor management on Travis Scott as well as his handlers.
Yeah.
The event was poor management as well, and like a very, very lack of experience.
I saw the video.
Everything.
I saw the video at the gates, and like there was like 7 security guards there, and the crowd is just running right through. So there's a reason why at some of those festivals like that there's like 6, maybe like there's a bunch of checkpoints. It's like to stop the flow of people getting in there.
Yeah.
I remember I saw Metallica in 97 in Saskatoon, and we were front row, or like front of the line. We got there early. When the doors opened, we ran like hell. But I mean, that could have been the same situation. But it was the 90s. It was a different time to be alive.
Yeah.
Actually, a buddy of mine got kicked in the back of the head by a steel-toe boot from a guy moshing at that show. Because it's like guys are moshing behind us. And you're pulling this guy out. And as they were pulling him out, he got booted in the back of the head. And we all laughed. And he had a headache for like 3 days. I don't think he missed the rest of the concert. But yeah, he wasn't happy about it.
No, I don't doubt that at all. That's smarts.
Yeah. So what's next?
So,
what do we got next? You had something.
You want to keep on the lighter note of music.
Sure. Yeah.
So in my background here, for those of you watching the video, I've made it easier for me to access my guitars. These are 4. I actually own 6 different guitars.
You got more than me.
yeah, but you play more than me.
Well.
And this is a situation I plan on rectifying.
Yeah.
So I've taken upon myself to pick up specifically this bass guitar, which is my most expensive guitar and my favorite guitar. And to learn how to play it again.
Yep.
And I challenged myself to learn some Offspring songs because the Offspring with Simple Plan are coming to Prince George in February.
They're also coming here.
Awesome.
Yes.
So I was like, I was telling you about this because you're a bassist, and I was like, I want to get back into this.
Is that a 24 fret?
It's a 5-string grind PV.
Yeah, but it's 24 fret. Is there two dots at the bottom?
No.
Yeah, it's 22.
No, there's
fret
not.
then. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious.
So
just curious.
Anyway, I took it upon myself.
No, it is a 24 fret.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was looking at the side there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, take it upon myself to learn some Offspring songs. And then I downloaded 2 songs to Rocksmith,
Yeah.
which is, I think, like, it's a wonderful tool. And aced one immediately.
It's because it's, yeah.
And then it got a 75% on like the 4th try of the second Offspring song. And so I messaged you back and saying like, well, the idea was to like show progress, like watch me struggle as I move along. But I guess either bass guitar or playing guitar for me is like falling off a bike. You never truly forget. Or Offspring songs are just really fucking easy.
Yeah. And then what was my reply to that? It's pretty much every
a lot of Offspring songs are really easy.
Yeah. So like I own both Rocksmith games and I played them before.
Yeah.
They are good as a learning tool, but like I tried learning some songs for bands that I was playing in. Yeah. It didn't translate. I found you can play the song and you like because you're following along. Even if you get good enough, you're like the notes won't show up on the screen.
Yeah, you master mode.
Yeah, but to translate that to playing with a band doesn't really work for me, anyways. I know, and I've read some forums and stuff about it. It's like a lot of people think the same thing. It's a great way to put more time into a guitar. Don't ever get me wrong. Like, it's if you're gonna go to play in a band, you need, for me, what I did for any of the bands I played in, you get the fundamentals of songs, and then you play with these other guys, and then you get the real feel for the song, right? But as a learning tool, and like to get more time in, 100%, it's a great tool for that.
Yeah,
and it's worth the money. It really is, especially if you want to like pick up something new.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And are you playing on PC, right?
Yeah. So I was playing on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Because I think Rocksmith came out as a part of like the PlayStation Plus package.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. So I got it for free. But the real cable that came with Rocksmith is old and it's starting to degrade, and so it'll cut out. So
yeah, mine doesn't
I've been
even work.
playing it on PC.
Yeah. So if you didn't know this, and it's not really off topic, but you can mod that game.
Yes.
And there's a whole community around that game where you can get a ton of like unlicensed songs on that game, and interesting stuff, like heavy, hard stuff, like just technical stuff that people have translated into the game. That's why I liked Rocksmith, like for some of that stuff,
right?
Like for trying the harder stuff, but yeah, no, I do enjoy that game, and I can't get it to work with the interface I have right now, but.
It's been fun. Like I can definitely feel the callus and the strength coming back into my hands. I got to get back into a rhythm. See, these guitars here, like I have 2 electric, 1 bass, 1 acoustic electric, and then 2 acoustics, 1 dreadnought and 1 classical.
Yeah.
And of all the guitars, the acoustics are the ones that bother me the most, or I find the most challenging.
That's the action's higher on an acoustic. You have to press a lot harder to get the noise that you want. Like that's what I find. Like so this guitar here, I shouldn't own this guitar, but I do. I can't play it. I can't.
What is it?
That is a one of a kind guitar. It's a prototype. That there's only one I think there's 2 in existence now. It's a Dingwall, like my other ones,
Oh.
like the ones that are made in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's serial number 1.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, dude.
Yeah, it's yeah. And no, Ethan, you cannot have that guitar. But no, it's
I want a Dingwall guitar.
I have 3, but
You have 3.
yeah. No, like I am gonna be getting Sheldon Dingwall on the podcast eventually, and that's when I'll tell the full story behind the guitar, or get him to tell it about what the story is. They couldn't make this. That's why he sold it to me, because there's a licensing issue.
Oh.
Because it looks like a Gibson. So.
Oh, you know what? I don't have a Gibson, an official one.
Yeah.
But this is my first guitar, and it's a piece of shit.
It's a 355 or 335 style.
It's a 335 replica.
Yeah,
Gibson.
yeah.
And the frets are too far apart.
What do you mean the frets are too far apart?
The frets are too far apart.
What?
Seriously, the frets on here are further apart than they are on any other guitar. And
But
that first guitar. What?
It might not be. It depends on the scale of the guitar too.
You want me to hold up something as an example?
We'll talk about this at another time.
But this is my first guitar.
Yeah.
I traded an original Xbox video game system for this.
Yeah.
I traded it.
Yeah.
I didn't pay a dime for it. And I took it to a guitar shop after like messing around with it for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And like I was learning and I was playing and I was getting some chords down, and I took it to the guitar shop and they said, This is what is this? I said, I don't know. I was maybe hoping you could tell me. It's like, well, it's a replica because there are no markings on it. 0. Right? No tags, no labels, no nothing. So it's a replica. I said, okay, cool. And he goes, this has got to be at least 30 years old?
Yeah.
Really? He goes, like, how does it work? I said, well, it plugs in and all the knobs work. He's like, and the electronics still work in this thing? Yeah, it does. He goes, it's like Frankenstein's monster. I've never seen this before.
Is it a bolt-on neck, or is it a neck through? Let me see the back of it. I bet. I'm thinking if you took all the strings off and took those 4 bolts out on the back, that there's a marking underneath the neck.
What would it say?
It might be something that you could start looking on. Like, is there nothing on the headstock either?
0.
Really? That's weird.
Like there are 0 markings on this thing at all.
Huh. If you were gonna really seriously look into what that is, I would pull the neck off.
Think so?
Or take it to a shop and get them to pull the neck off.
Well, they're ones who said that it was a replica Gibson 355.
But that's a pretty broad statement. Like there's a whole like there's a whole like back, I don't know, like gray area about guitars like that. So I mean, there might be something going on there.
It sounds beautiful, and it still works for a guitar that is that old.
Yeah.
But when I took it into the guitar shop, the guys were just like, "What the fuck is this thing?" So that was my first guitar.
It probably like if you got it when you're living in Vancouver.
Oh, here.
Here there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, if it came from China or like someplace over there where there's a big like bootleg community. It's possible. Very possible.
Tell you what. After the show, I will de-string it, and I will take that plate off and see if there's anything back there.
You know what I mean by take the neck off, right? Like if you take those 4 screws out, your neck is going to be separated from the body.
Yeah.
Okay. Can just make...
I don't play it. I don't play it anymore. I have other guitars.
Okay.
Right. I just keep it there because it's my first guitar.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Just making sure. You know.
I don't play it. Like I have the Fender right there.
Yeah.
And it plays way better way easier.
Ethan was
than
just
that.
saying that he'd take that telly off your hands too. So, yeah, for free if you want to. If you didn't know, so remember, Ethan, I played in a band with him.
Okay.
In Age of Autonomy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was the guitarist. So,
Okay.
Hi, Ethan.
Hi, Ethan.
Yeah.
I apologize that our interview never went through.
Yeah, it is what it is. Band didn't go through either, so what's the difference? Yeah. What are you listening to this week? I'm gonna ask you specifically first because we'll go through your two first, and then we'll
Sure.
go into mine.
Sure.
Yeah.
2 songs. First one, a little bit less of a story, but a couple of years ago, I made a trip to Quebec and was listening to the local radio stations, and there was one band that was just everywhere on this one rock alternative station, and it was called The Interrupters.
I know the Interrupters.
I discovered them when I was in Quebec, and I have not heard them here in British Columbia.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
A great song by them called "She's Kerosene."
What the hell song? I gotta look that up now. There's a song I know specifically by them.
Gave You Everything. Because the Gave You Everything is the song that I heard on the radio, and then when I found their stuff, I went going searching whatever, and I heard "She's Kerosene."
Oh,
Love that tune.
Take Back the Power.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I know. Yeah, no, fun band, fun, really
Fun
good band. Yeah.
And you want my second song?
Yeah.
So the second song is one of those things where it's a great rocker. It's an awesome tune, but unless you pay attention to the lyrics, it doesn't mean what you think it means.
Yeah.
And it's Godsmack's Bulletproof. Now, automatically, what comes to mind is badass song, guy saying he's tough, blah, 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 blah. You actually listen to the lyrics of Bulletproof, and it is about heartache.
It is.
The end of a relationship.
It's heavy, but it's got heavy lyrics too.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Great tune, and I'm forever fascinated by, there's songs out there like the one I suggested before.
Yeah.
Where it was Gemini Syndrome and Stardust, where it's like, fuck yeah, great tune, right? You listen to the lyrics and go, well, the guy's in love.
Yeah. So I did something different this week, and it's not that I didn't have time to look up a couple songs, but I mean, we talked about Tyler like all the time anyways. Yeah. So I got my buddy Tyler to give me 2 songs. So we'll give him his own, 2 in a row, and then his little shout out, whatever, make him all happy because he's going to probably listen to this tomorrow as soon as I release it. So last week he gave me a song by Whitechapel called Orphan. I listened to it. I had not heard a whole bunch of Whitechapel before, and I really dig it. I can't tell you a lot about these songs because I don't know a whole bunch about these bands, but Tyler liked it, so I mean, of course, I'm going to give it a listen. Yeah. So, and there's a new Every Time I Die track called White Void. I only listened to, I messaged him about 20 minutes before we came on. I'm like, Tyler, I need your second song. He's like, fuck! So yeah. White Void by Every Time I Die. So these are all going to be up on the Found Signals playlist on Spotify. Yeah. And I'll link it everywhere like we usually do. So thanks, Tyler, for these. And like I said, I did really enjoy these 2 tracks when I listened to them. So it's,
let's throw it out there. Let's continue this trend. If anyone's listening to this podcast right now or watching the podcast, and even if you're in it live, feel free to submit 2 of your favorite tunes that you're listening to right now, and we will add them to the list.
Yeah. Or we'll at least talk about them. How about that? We'll talk about them, and let's see what gets added to the list. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. So where can people do that?
We can do that. You can email us at info@lostsignals.ca. You can message us on Facebook. It's Lost Signals Podcast. Twitter is I'm not active on Twitter. I haven't had that.
That's
time.
okay, but I am, and
Yes.
you can find me everywhere at the Media Jack.
Yes.
That is Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, like
Yeah.
everywhere on social media.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you message him about the lost signal stuff, he'll obviously get the message. So
Exactly.
yes. Yeah. So like I said, yeah, info@lostsignals.ca, at Lost Signals Pod on Twitter. I mean, there's an account there. It's just not active. Honestly, if either message me on the Facebook page, or it's just probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a good episode, man. It's good.
I had fun.
I mean,
Got things off my chest. Got to share a couple of stories. Fuck Travis Scott.
fuck that guy. Yeah. Yeah. Talked about weed.
Talked about weed.
Yeah. And side note, I have a new video game that I'm going to play tomorrow, and next episode we'll talk about that. The original GTA trilogy, GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, is released tomorrow morning. I paid
Are any of those multiplayer?
No.
Ah,
$90 for 3 games. Remastered. Whatever. Is what it is. So next episode, we'll talk about that right off the hop, and we'll go from there.
sounds good.
My name is Darrell.
I'm JD.
This has been episode 25 of Lost Signals, and we will see you out there.
Take care.